Simon Phillips is on the line, a mental health speaker from Barry who's now living in beautiful Larne. Hello there, Simon.
Hi, Ollie. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Very good. So, your story, really. First of all, what's your mental health story, Simon?
Thanks for asking. So, my story actually starts when I cracked open my eyes and looked around me and didn't recognize the room I was in. Every muscle, bone, and sinew in my body was aching, and I realized the only thing I could move was my eyelids. As you can imagine, I was pretty confused, but I was also very scared. 26 hours before that, I'd been driving in my car, came up and over a hill, and a white van was coming up the other side on my side of the road. And as our vehicles collided, mine flipped, and I ended up in a mangled wreckage at the bottom of the hill. And it took them about 50 minutes to cut my pretty broken and unconscious body out of the car. And everybody assumed on the scene that that was pretty much the last they'd see of me. And thankfully for me, the NHS surgeons worked on me all night, and I came through that. But what I had as a result of that in those days was pretty much unrecognized as PTSD, and that sort of stuck with me for quite some time afterwards.
Amazing. Amazing. And I know you've gone on now to talk about it a great deal. And one thing I want to say at this point, actually, is that I am aware that simply talking about your mental health is not a panacea. And it's not going to help everybody, and it's not going to help completely at all. But I think the understanding is, Simon, that for some people, for many people, it does help to different degrees. Is that right?
Oh, that couldn't be any more true, Ollie. It's and it's the thing that actually most people don't do. It's almost like the first step. And so a lot of what's happening right now, as this awareness is growing of mental health issues, particularly amongst men, is that people are starting to realize that by talking, it actually opens up conversations, and they realize that many of the people around them have more than sympathy or even empathy. They actually have their own experiences, and it's actually mutually beneficial to get into conversations like that.
Interesting. That was exactly the conversation I was having with Wyn Evans earlier, because Wyn, who is very open and speaks a great deal here on Radio Wales and elsewhere about his own mental health. I asked him whether he spoke about it because it helps him or because it helps other people. And I think his feeling was he knows it helps him, but he hoped it would help other people as well. How does it help other people when someone does open up? Because Wyn was saying he hoped it helped that somebody who was so outwardly happy and jolly and would on the face of it appear to have so much going for him in life, if he can struggle, then there's no shame at all. Is that what it is? How does it help other people when you talk about it, do you think?
Well, I think there is that bit about the sense of no shame, but also in hearing other people's stories, we're able to tune in and hear for ourselves the bits that answer our own self-doubts. And by and large, most people suffer with mental health issues in isolation. And just the fact that there's a conversation going on enables them to think differently about their own situation. So, for example, I'm working with a bunch of guys at the moment, such an incredibly courageous group that are coming together tomorrow night to do an event. None of them have ever spoken in public about their mental health issues before. And in the preparation, they've been transformed as a group. So just hearing each other's stories, in preparation for the evening, that has actually transformed the way they feel about their own situations, but also the value of sharing their own story.
But in my limited experience of it, Simon, I think that the one thing about depression certainly is that it isn't rational. I sometimes feel that it I understand the black dog thing. I understand this idea of just a permanent cloud. I sometimes feel that it might be chemical. It's not rational. So I don't fully see how then trying to rationalise it and speak about it in those circumstances can be of any huge benefit.
I think you're absolutely right in terms of it's not always rational. And I think sometimes it's not the words that people hear, it's the emotion that comes through, and that connection point of just knowing that you're not alone. I think it's we're all an amazing mixture of, head and heart and yes, we can all put the logic out there, but it's actually the bits that actually touch people are when people are sharing something from the heart and, enabling the people around them to just feel that emotion. It's not about the specific words that you say mostly.
And do you think it's better if you talk sooner?
I think it's a case of talk as soon as you can. I mean, as you were mentioning earlier, it's different for every single person. Which is why I really want to, I'm on a mission right now. I want to create 1 million change makers around the world who can be within arm's reach and help and support people who need it in the moment, because you just never know when somebody is actually going to feel ready to talk. But it wouldn't be great if there was someone right there to help them.
So tell me what's happening in Merthyr tomorrow, Simon.
So it's an event called TID Talks. And a wonderful woman called Phillips has been putting this together. And it's, as I say, it's a bunch of guys who are just sharing their stories. Not all of them are desperately sad. There'll be some humor in there as well. But it is all in aid of men's mental health charities. And, it is people sharing their stories, but also you will feel tangibly, if you like, what it is that's gone on for them in their lives.
Simon, thank you so much. Lovely to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the programme. Simon Phillips, mental health speaker from Barry, speaking to us there from Larne. So that event taking place in Merthyr tomorrow. TID Talks, TYD, as in Tidville. If you want to look it up, TID Talks, that's tomorrow. This is the phone-in on BBC Radio Wales.